And we're back to part 2 of episode 5, Mackenzie Dern versus Yan Xiaonon.
Episode 105. This ain't our fifth rodeo.
Oh yeah,
Episode
did I
105.
say oh 05?
I think just five, but whatever. All good. Splitting hairs here for another fun episode of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. And yeah, we're talking Dern versus Xiaonon and the whole main card. We just broke down the prelims. Go check out that video because honestly, the prelims were better than the main card. I'll say it. Dana said it with his wallet. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's no doubt. No bonuses on the main card. All six bonuses that were received were handed down on the prelims. 5 fights got bonuses, 1 being fight of the night, 4 others for finishes. So 6 total bonuses there. So
I'll say, however, if they would have given the main event fight of the night, I wouldn't have hated it. I wouldn't have been mad. I wouldn't have said nothing on the podcast.
yeah, no, I agree with that.
Enjoyed it.
I agree with
I thought
that.
it was a sick fight.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think I agree with fight of the night though, if that makes sense.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Yeah, for sure, man.
But I wouldn't have had a problem with it either way.
Yeah, exactly, man. And yeah, this main card, man, just didn't have a lot of big names. Also, didn't have a lot of like prospects who were like excited for the future, and you kind of got to have one or the other, right?
Also,
I understand it's a fight night. Like,
didn't really have the best matchups at all in the first 3 fights, as it turns out.
Bad matchmaking, right? Like not that competitive of fights, which is also indicative of some of these giant money lines, and even some that had some decently close money lines still weren't that competitive of fights. Yeah, a miss on the main card for me, and I think a lot of other fight fans as well. I know for a fact, and this never happens. Bellator won Twitter last night.
Oh Bellator, yeah, with Aaron Pico getting finished and AJ McKee beating Spike Carlisle.
Like, I may go out on a limb and say bare knuckle beat UFC last night as far as, like, what people were, well, like, what my timeline looked like. Like, I saw plenty of bare knuckle content, like, coming down my Twitter feed. Like,
who fought in bare knuckle last night?
Ben Rothwell. It was his day. Yeah, he won in, like, 19 seconds. I don't know. He fought some mechanic or something. I don't know. But, like, yeah, just folded, buddy. Like, he looked like Larry the Cable Guy. Like, yeah, like I think that potentially, but like I said, I mean, it's not headliners at all. I think the card built around the female headliners sucked, but honestly, it didn't even have to suck. Like if you would have put Castaneda Santos like over Borschev Davis, I don't think anybody's mad about that. Or like the Brendan Allen Jocko fight could have easily been where Barcelos Trevin Jones was, and you could have moved Sadiq Youssef up. I mean, it was a weird card placement, weirdly like put together card.
I mean, honestly, based on names, Alexei Olenek and Ilir Latifi probably should have been on the main card, even though that fight wasn't good and would have just added to the boringness of the main card had it been there.
Yeah, it would have probably had him not losing headlines to bare knuckle. I feel you. And but yeah, man, we can dive right in here, starting off the main card, jerking the curtain, if you will. We got Viashev Borschev, aka Slava Claus, fighter we are not high on here on the breakdown. Like literally one of our least favorite fighters. So when we're talking about this isn't our favorite main card, like literally the first name out of our mouth is a guy that we really don't like talking about. So
I can't stand Slava Claus. I don't know if the audience knows that.
Yeah, no, Harrison can't stand him. I mean, I'm not over here leading any campaign rallies myself. I just probably, I don't know, I'm a little more indifferent. But yeah, we got Borschev versus Mike Davis, minus 170 coming in for Davis, Borschev at plus 145. Mike Davis, I think everybody feels the exact same way. Oh, you're super talented. You could be a guy, but you never fight. So who fucking knows? And therefore, who fucking cares?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then fighting in the lightweight division. And we both picked Mike Davis. And Davis, I mean, started off, making it, I mean, really the whole fight. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to go round by round? How do you feel about this fight? I've talked a lot.
Nah. I mean, I guess we should talk about the judges' scorecards, and then we should talk. Yeah, okay. Let's just go round by round. I don't think we're gonna
round one. Really, I think is the only one necessary to talk about.
Okay,
we can split the difference, right?
So yeah, because essentially it's going to be a question of how did you score round one.
And I'll answer.
Well, I say that, but then the one judge did have a 29-28.
You're right. Because
Which
of one
I
asshole,
which I
we
put
have
in
to
my
go
notes.
round by round on Slava Claus. God damn it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We have to go through all three, which sucks. So, I mean, first round, Mike Davis is literally all over him, dominating the transitions, gets the takedowns.
I think 4 takedowns.
Yeah, I mean, and is pretty much moving at will on Slav Claus. Now, it does speak to him being able to get up, I do suppose, there early on.
Yeah, he was able to get up, but he would spend time. It wasn't like they would hit the mat and bounce right back up.
No,
They were legit takedowns. He would eventually work his way to his feet, whatever, probably because Davis isn't the best at jiu-jitsu, pretty solid wrestling, pretty solid striking, not the best at jiu-jitsu. So his ability to manipulate those positions, he could get him in the positions, but
couldn't really do anything with it. Did do pretty good damage in the first round, though.
Oh,
overall.
yeah. The elbows, the ground and pound. I mean, I'll go as far as to say that the fight was almost stopped in the first round, which is, or maybe you could argue could have been stopped, whatever, which I think leads to, gives away how I'm going to score it.
I had 10-8.
I unzipped my pants and pulled my 10-8 out. I just, I had to, I thought it was a 10-8, and I honestly thought it was kind of an obvious 10-8 if I'm being honest.
No, I thought so too, man, because I mean, he did the damage. He had the control. I mean, and what part of the round did he lose or take that much damage? I think he got hit with the one right hand.
Yeah, Slava Claus is known as a striker, professional kickboxer for the UFC. Landed a couple shots, which you better. I mean, I would have loved. I mean, this fight would have been more entertaining for us if Slava Claus had more success. But I mean, it was few and far between. But it did exist, yes. And I mean, the second and third round. I think the second round was probably the closest round of the fight, which still I had pretty easily 10-9 Davis. But Slava Claus, at the start of the round had a solid amount of success, and then Davis definitely was slowing down. And then in the third round, the damage to the orbital, Borschev, landed a good shot, and Davis's eye was pretty fucked. If this was a 5-rounder, it would have got to Song Yadong territory, but it wasn't. And I don't know. That's about all I got to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say in summation of the entire fight, it was Mike Davis was never in any trouble. The second round is the one that the one judge, Doug Crosby, gave to Borschev, which I think is pretty crazy. I think that's almost Hill-worthy.
I think it's crazy, but at the same time, if there was any round, if I had to give Borschev one round, it's 2. It is that was his best round of the fight. Now, I said, I was 10-9 Davis for sure.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you say it that way.
No, I got you.
That was best round. It was 10-9 Davis.
Exactly, but like I said, just I don't know. That's it's not, I guess, egregious because I can see how he got there. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, we can keep it pushing. I gotta go run to the store and get a big cat to move some dirt for the amount of shit that I'm gonna eat for this.
Go down to the equipment rental store real quick.
So Sadiq Yusuf, number 12 in the featherweight division, comes in at minus 1050 versus Don Shameless Shanus, who's plus 700. Dominic and I may or may not have put some money here on Shanus. Now listen to the logic here is that he's such a big underdog.
Hey, I'll stand on it, man. I'll stand on it. Now, Sadiq Yusuf wins the fight, okay? We were wrong.
In 30 seconds.
However, first off, I did talk us into it. I'll take credit for that. It was my bright idea. But the thing is, we still knew it was a plus 700. We weren't delusional. We didn't say hey, this is bankable. This is for sure going to happen. We just thought it was worth the shot, worth the low risk, high reward 1 unit bet. You know what I'm saying? It's I don't know, man. Obviously aged poorly, cold takes exposed for sure, but it's I don't know. It's it's not we weren't aware of what we were getting ourselves into. You know what I mean? Betting the plus 700 straight bet. Real scumbags.
I think that's fair. It was a scumbag sprinkle.
It's a scumbag sprinkle.
But we weren't taught that by Yanni the Greek, so it's not our fault.
Blame Yanni, man. But man, yeah. Getting to this actual fight, it was Don Shanus' debut. What we liked about him, he had I think 3 or 4 first-round finishes in a row. He fights every other month. Essentially seems like an absolute dog on paper. And I mean, I thought he was a dog, kind of a person. I think, but what you can't see on paper and what there's no way to like juxtapose when you're thinking about betting, you don't know what these guys look like standing next to each other, and you don't know what it looks like when one grabs the other.
True. Or fight
Sadiq
IQ.
or fight IQ. True, but to me, this one was like a bully ball type of fight. Like Sadiq Yusuf just big dogged him, just fucking just grabbed him and did what he wanted to.
Put him in the tie clinch, started viciously punching him, kneeing him, doing all the damage. As soon as Shaynis ripped his head out of the clinch, he jumped up.
And Shaynis was like flailing around like helpless. Like he didn't even get close to getting like out of that tie clinch at all.
Not even close. And that's what made him like try to pop his head up so hard that Yusuf let it go. And as soon as he popped his head up, he jumped over and got the guillotine and rolled down on him.
Yeah, I mean, it was instantaneous. Fight lasted 30 seconds. You know, the strength and athleticism of Yusuf. Now, even in our breakdown where we, shamelessly picked Shaynis, we acknowledged that like the main box that Sadiq Yusuf checks is the athleticism and strength box. Like that was never in question. So therefore, I just didn't learn anything from this fight. Like I'm still not that high on Yusuf. For those, like, yeah, I'll eat shit on my bet, and I have the losing betting slip to do that for me. But like I still kind of stand by what I say. Like Shaynis kind of still is a dog. And Sadiq Yusuf is still kind of overrated. I don't think I've really moved off my position all that much. Like I
don't know.
You high on Yusuf? You think Yusuf's about to make a run?
No, I'm just low on Shaynis.
Shaynis is a dog. No, he's probably a dog. I mean, he looked tiny in there. I mean, Sadiq Yusuf is a big guy, but I mean, Shaynis. I mean, this was a short notice fight. If he took like 8 weeks, he could probably make bantam.
And go to bantamweight where it's more killers?
Yeah, but smaller killers. I think he would do better. I mean, just because he got manhandled, but like the strength at featherweight's like clearly an issue. Like that's what's on display. Like we saw nothing, but like we didn't see a technique or a cardio we just saw one guy that was way stronger than another guy just do what he wanted to him.
Yeah, just beat down him.
Just bullied him. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there was a tight clinch and there was a double leg, and you can fire out a couple terms if you want to, but that was one guy being bigger, stronger, badder, more athletic, and it just, hot knife through butter. That's what that was.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, not too much to break down, except I do have the question of like, who would you like to see Yusuf fight next?
Yeah. Well, perfect. I wanted to spend a tiny bit of time on that too. Also, Sadiq Yusuf, I'm not saying a lot of kind things about him. He was robbed of a bonus, like 30-second finish.
Yeah, I thought like that too.
How did he not get a bonus? That's a little fucked. Especially on a night where they give out extra bonuses and he still doesn't get one. I'd be pretty salty. Probably got a Dana duffel, but Dana was probably also like, hey, bro, eat your can of tuna that you just opened because...
Yeah, like you just have to be a minus 1050 favorite. Like, you're welcome.
That's your bonus. Yeah, you don't got to go to the hospital after this. There's your bonus. But he called out Korean Zombie, which, I always like when they fire out a name. I don't hate it, but I also think Korean Zombie should retire. So, I don't really love it either. Like, do I want to... And, he wants Korean Zombie because it's the biggest name he can get that he can still an easy fight. And if you want to say that's a casual take to say Korean Zombie's an easy fight, or that Sadiq Yusuf hasn't done enough to be able to call Korean Zombie an easy fight, I would listen to that. I think we all know how that goes, right? And just at the point of their careers, the young lion, the old guy, taking a lot of damage, whatever, kind of hinted at retirement already a little bit after his last loss. I don't know how much Korean Zombie has left in the tank. And if I want to see him go out on one last fight, I don't think I want it to be against Sadiq Yusuf. So it's not that I think it's a bad call out or doesn't make sense in the rankings or I just personally am not into it, as a fan.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, wasn't Yusuf originally scheduled to fight Giga?
Giga, which would have been sick.
I would like to see that be ran back in all
honesty. Well, the thing is, though, that my fight might be cursed. I'm pretty goddamn sure that fight fell through twice.
Well, we just got to keep pushing for it.
I feel you. It makes a lot of sense. It makes sense in the rankings. It makes sense as a matchup. I mean, I like it for both guys. I also love me some Giga in that one, but he does keep pulling out. So like, I don't know what's going on with him. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I guess just can't get healthy all the way through a camp.
yeah,
That's what
and
it
I'm just
sounds
like I said, not super high on Yusuf. I mean, so because everybody's going to be like, "Oh, he showed off the skill set. He's a grappler too. He's well rounded." Like, I'm not coming away with those vibes. I think the top guy, like literally any top guy, like I think I'm not even that high on Kelvin Cater, and I think Kelvin Cater beats the dog shit out of Sadiq Yusuf. Like, I don't know, yeah, you could. Korean Zombie's probably the one guy that he could beat, and that's why I don't want to see the fight. But I also, it's a which is what makes it a great call out. It was a great call out by Sadiq.
Yeah, and Zombie's
for
ranked
that
7.
reason. That's
12,
what I'm saying.
12 and
Gets him
7
in
is
the
not a
top
crazy
10.
jump.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I'm just not into it personally. But also, like, all the featherweights are getting active right now. Arnold Allen just got booked against somebody. We got Kate, or is it Cater? Is it Cater Arnold Allen? Are they matched up with each other? I think that got announced.
Let me check. I can check right here. I know Bryce Mitchell and Evloev signed.
Yes, that's like a dream matchup. Isn't that what we called for after
Yeah.
Evloev's last fight? Like that's our matchmaking for sure. Which probably a captain, obviously.
Oh
like,
no,
one
it's
ranking
it's
apart.
Calvin Cater Arnold Allen.
That's what I meant to say. Cater versus Arnold Allen. Yeah, that's a banger. Also, love me some Allen in that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. And then
So featherweights heating up.
right, and I mean Max obviously isn't gonna fight for that belt again.
No.
Ortega lost, obviously on kind of a fluke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is an L. So I mean, does Yair up next, or do you think Emmett should fight Yair?
I think Emmett has to fight Yair because I think Volk's settling some business at 55. I think that's going to happen, and I'm pretty goddamn sure Volk's the backup fighter for Oliveira Islam. Like, I'm pretty sure that's like an actual thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's
so
crazy.
it's like he keeps talking about that, flirting with that, has his eyes on that.
Well, I think that's hilarious too because Sterling's talking about if he beats or if he beats Dillashaw, that he wants to move up to 45 and fight Volk, and it's like, what? Can you guys make up your mind?
No, I'm all for it, bro. I think that's sick. I think that's the perfect return fight for Volk. If Volk goes up, takes a fight at 55, say even loses, comes back and fights Aljo at 45 to defend that belt, I think that works. I think it makes sense. I think it's a lot of fun. Sign me up, man. Little off the rails here, but I mean, featherweight's heating up in this fight. I guess had impact in the featherweight division, ranked featherweight. He calls out Korean Zombie. I don't think he matches. I think any of those guys we just talked about like beats Yusuf though, like besides Zombie. So fuck it. I guess give him Zombie. I guess if you want to do him a favor, which seemed I don't know, man. Am I weird for just how indifferent I am on Yusuf? Are you like how do you juxtapose Yusuf against the top 10 and then we'll keep it pushing? Because I just don't see it.
I think he's that guy that's just always going to perennially be like 10 or out. Like, I don't think he'll ever be a 9, 8, 7,
He's
6,
the
5,
featherweight
4.
Neil Magny. The featherweight Neil Magny.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, always going to be a solid challenge, but just never going to have that little extra thing.
Cool. See, I don't disagree with that. I think we're saying the same thing, but I don't know, man. I think that I think certain people out there expect that this guy's going to be a guy, and I just don't see it. I see above average, pretty good, has a career, but yeah.
I
We can
agree
keep
with that,
pushing
but I mean, yeah, but isn't that spot? Like, if you do it long enough and you have a great career for long enough, don't you usually get to that point of 8, 9, 10? Like, obviously Cerrone climbed up pretty high.
Well, also, I think a lot of my disdain for Yusuf, it isn't anything he says or does or his fight style. It's I really don't think that, I know how many killers there are at featherweight. It's one of our favorite divisions. I know how good the unranked featherweight guys are. And you look at Yusuf's resume, who he's beat, and it's just out of all these lions, this guy's about to crack the top 10. I don't know. I just kind of resent it. It's kind of a dumb thing. I don't think the resume necessarily, there's so many young featherweights, there's so many good featherweights, there's so many featherweights I am stoked to watch and watch fighting. And I just feel Yusuf's being mentioned right there with Bryce Mitchell and Evloev when I don't think he's close to their level. So it's That's the type of shit I'd be talking about.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Bryce Mitchell and Evloev are going to be making a run for the top 5, each of themselves.
Yeah,
Just depending on the matchups, though. Not so much for Evloev, but definitely for Bryce Mitchell.
Well, that's what makes that fight so insane.
Yeah, because that isn't the best matchup for Evloev, necessarily.
It's not the best matchup for Mitchell either.
Yeah,
this is a fight that the UFC wouldn't have made 5 years ago. But
right.
Now they're trying to sort it out younger.
But, watch it just be a war of hands because they try to negate each other with the grappling.
Hey, real quick, and then we'll keep it pushing. Way too early pick. We don't even know the money line. Just on a piece of notebook paper, no money line. Evloev, right?
Yeah.
Me too. Okay. All right.
I think he's more well-rounded. He might not be more dangerous as far as a finish, but I think he's more dangerous as winning out the rounds.
And I like his striking way more.
That's what I mean, because he can if he can avoid the grappling, he's the one that's going to decide if he wants to engage in grappling. I feel like I don't think Bryce Mitchell's going to easily get a takedown on Evloev, but I do think Evloev can get a takedown on Bryce Mitchell. But does he want to?
I also think Bryce Mitchell might be the stronger guy. So if Bryce Mitchell just kind of clinches him up against the cage and shit like that, I could see him having success.
I mean, it would be cool to see him country strong or Russian.
Oh, it would be so cool. He's already been talking mad shit on that tip, and I think he's like, I'm gonna baptize you by the name of Jesus Christ, boy, because it's getting dicey already. I love it.
Oh my god. He's going to start a religious war over a fight.
But man, we'll keep it pushing. I think how down we are on this next fight is our subconscious is making us babble about other things because we are super not that stoked to break this one down. I wasn't that stoked to watch it. I thought it was one of the main fights that I had problem with the card placement. This could have easily been on the prelims. Are people really giving a shit about Heine Barcelos and Trevin Jones? Why are they trying to pretend like people care about this fight? I don't know. I know I just said a lot of strong things. We got Heine Barcelos minus 250, Trevin Jones plus 210. Everything about this fight was mid, including the money line, taking place at bantamweight, which once again, we love bantamweight. We're very familiar with bantamweights. We love talking bantamweight. So we know how many better, doper bantamweight matchups are out there that could have been in this fight. Instead, we got this. I don't know, bro. That's how I feel about it.
This fight was pure domination. I can see where this fight should have been good on paper because Trevin Jones is a counter striker in style and Heine Barcelos is a pretty active moving forward striker. But what you ended up getting last night was Trevin Jones just being unwilling to pull the trigger or being late to pull the trigger and getting clipped down the middle himself, waiting for counter shots, which he literally had 12 punches landed 13 minutes through the fight.
Yeah, bro. So he landed 5 significant strikes in the first round, 4 in the second round. I didn't write down the third, but whatever the difference is between that is and the number you just said. But I mean, it was. He literally did nothing. Which thank God thank God Barcelos was willing to engage, or else we would have had a Lewis and Ghana, just one of these all-time stinkers on our hands. But Barcelos used it to his advantage, and just ran through him. How many 10-8s? Because it's not if, it's how many.
I gave 2. I gave 2. Only because Jones literally did no damage. So to juxtapose a very good amount of damage versus none, that differential has to be 10-8.
Yeah, well, yeah, because in the second round, I mean, the ground and pound elbow damage was pretty intense, and he outclassed him on the feet. I mean, the wrestling wasn't even close. I mean,
opened up a nice cut on his head.
Damage, yeah. And then round 3, he actually hurt him on the feet, and then proceeded to ground and pound him and take him down and do the same thing.
And do more elbows at the end. Those elbows at the very end were vicious.
Saved by the bell, 100% saved by the bell. I think 3 was worse than 2. If I had to only pick one to give a 10-8 to, it's probably 3. But also, round 2 was the round where Trevin Jones landed 4 significant strikes. So it's how is that not domination, Well,
he had 5 in the first, 4 in the second, and 6 in the third.
Yeah, but I think Barcelos didn't do as much in the first. I don't think that there's really an argument for giving him one in the first, right?
No, I don't think so either. I think Barcelos was playing it safe and then realized, I can just open up on him and annihilate him.
He's not going to do anything about it, for sure. Yeah, man, I'm glad. We saw it the same way. One judge gave it 30-25. Now, two judges gave it 30-27.
I thought that was egregious.
That's stupid. If they would have said 30-26, I wouldn't have been mad at it. But no 10-8s at all. Like, get out of here.
Which I think is pretty wild as well, considering that we kind of see a similar thing occur here in the main card. However, one of the judges that gave 10-9 here has a different take in the main card.
Which is weird, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I thought, listen, if you didn't give them both, I get it. A lot of judges don't hand out 30-25s. I'm actually glad that one did, because I thought the fair fight of this score of this fight. But to not give out one is kind of weird, and it's just like stingy and whatever. Barcelos gets the win, obviously. Looked phenomenal. I mean, Trevin Jones literally needs to fuck up, like get out of the UFC. Like, I do not want to watch another Trevin Jones fight. I can't imagine Dana does. His record's real close to 500 at this point. Like I don't know, man. I'm over Trevin Jones. Barcelos he actually looked really good. Barcelos looked good enough to make me go from indifferent to like, all right, this guy, like, he's good. There's some fun matchups. Like, there's some things you can do with Barcelos. I don't know what you can really do with Trevin Jones.
No, I think kick him out of the UFC is what you do with Trevin Jones. I don't think he's UFC quality at this point, just because he's unwilling to go for it. I mean, if you're not going to pull the trigger or feint and move forward to draw out strikes so that you can counter them, then what are we doing?
You have no grappling, no takedown defense. Like, it's like, what are we doing? We'll keep it pushing, talking about things that don't deserve. I mean, this fight probably doesn't deserve to be a co-main event. There's usually supposed to be like something on a co-main event, like something that separates it from the pack, like a reason. I guess that reason's supposed to be Randy Brown. Randy Brown. And we got Randy Brown, Rude Boy Brown, minus 320 favorite. Fighting, 44-year-old Francisco Trinaldo, plus 265. Kind of just like
something with Brazilians where they can fight for forever.
Yeah, he looked great. Like, I'm really not trying to just hate on Trinaldo because he's old, but it kind of does come down to that, right? Like, I mean, part of being excited about fighters and watching them fight is like being excited for their future and the story and going along for the ride. And I mean, that's part of the fun of being an MMA fan. And then but whenever, there's a 44-year-old fighter, it's like, oh, I'm supposed to get along and come along for this journey? Like, what journey? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's weird with Trinaldo because he fights really good and he doesn't look like he's close to being done, but it's just like, he's that old and he's unranked. And so it's just like, what's on this fight? Like I said, Randy Brown, I'm not as high on him as other people are. However, he's an interesting guy. He's a good fighter. He's long and pretty skilled. And but there was just so much, especially at welterweight. Welterweight's probably my second favorite division. So it's like you can't find a fun fight for the fans at welterweight. Like, there's so many welterweights, so many.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, especially whenever. Well, I'll have to say that for the post-fight conversation, but I just feel like Randy Brown thinks he's better than he is too, or like views himself as more valuable than I think he really is.
And the UFC's reinforcing that with the
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's like they're both guilty for sure. And I don't think either of us are just along for that ride. Now, I have a weird scorecard. And I'm not dying on any hills, but I have a weird scorecard. I do.
I felt like 1 and 3 were potentially pretty similarly close. 2 is extremely debatable.
Yeah, I thought round 2 was a coin flip, and that's where my scorecard gets weird.
So did you give round 1 to Brown?
Yeah, the knockdown with the straight punch was, it was the most impactful moment of the entire fight, much less the round. And then he should have jumped on him and finished him off. He could have. Now, Trinaldo was notoriously hard to finish. Felder was talking about it. Everybody, the whole cast that fought Trinaldo. I think Piada fought Xiaonon. Like, they were all talking about just how tough this guy is and how hard he is to fight and all this stuff. I think he actually beat Felder. And so, they were shining his wheels a little bit. So, like, maybe Brown was, like, scared to go in for the takedown or didn't think it was wise to go for the takedown. I thought he 100% should have. It was his best chance to win the fight.
Me too. Or at least try to ground and pound him.
Yeah, 100%. Get the damage off. Yeah, man. Big mistake, but easily enough to win round 1.
Yeah, so easy 10-9 there. Now, round 2, I do end up slightly edging out this on the scorecard to Brown, but I did put in my notes that, I mean, it's pretty much a coin flip of a round.
Yeah.
But I just ended up giving it to Brown. Now, however, Trinaldo started to manage the range so much better in round 2.
Yeah.
He was being able to stay out further than Randy Brown's reach, which was like an 8-inch reach advantage, so pretty hefty distance margin. But then he was able to blitz in and get nice combination strikes off and do pretty good damage to Randy Brown in round 2.
Yeah, I thought really the first 4 minutes of the round was spent pretty even on the feet. Each guy had some success. I thought it was pretty coin flip. And then at the end of the round, Trinaldo was able to get the standing, he took his back, but they were standing. He didn't do dick with it, but it was this weird thing where I viewed the rest of the round as a coin flip 50-50. So just kind of winning that last position swung my scale in the favor of Trinaldo. Now I'm not puffing my chest out or dying on that hill or I don't know. I did think it was a pretty coin flip round. But I did also think it was weird that just the whole universe seemingly just gave it to Brown. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably wrong on it. I mean, I scored it for Trinaldo. I'm not super bullish on it, but I think it's weird that not a lot of people did or nobody did really. I didn't see anybody talking about Trinaldo winning that round but me. But
yeah, I have no problem with it. I think this was more of a split decision type of fight than a majority decision for sure. I'm amazed one judge did not see round 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm weird. Like I said, I'm not saying everybody has to agree with me, but just nobody does.
Because if I write coin flip, then I already know that I'm pretty much just selecting someone that I liked based off the things I noticed, but that's from my perspective.
Yeah, and we end up with a unanimous decision here. Every judge saw this the exact same way.
Right.
And then we get to round 3. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I agree with how they all scored round 3, which is I think Trinaldo continued that momentum, won the round, kind of continued that success, and Brown I think Brown was getting tired too, to be honest, which is surprising whenever he's fighting a 44-year-old who has better cardio than him.
Yeah, 44-year-old thick boy. But yeah, no, he for sure exactly co-signed everything he said. Brown was starting to gas. Trinaldo had a great third round, won it easily, I would say. I mean, I don't think it was really any debate. Definitely. So I had Trinaldo winning the fight 29-28. Like I said, I'm not dying on the hill. Wasn't a robbery. No hot take on that lines, but I did come down with the scorecard favoring Trinaldo ever so slightly, man.
Yeah, and I don't really necessarily have a problem with it. I am surprised it was not a split decision. I fully expected to hear split decision because of how back and forth I was on the second round, because of the eye test of how Trinaldo finished the fight and how that might have been perceived, going forward through he finished second round so strong that the third round he just continued it, so that was easy to score, but I'm surprised it didn't make the second round harder to score with the ending in his favor.
Yeah, for sure, man, and just also reinforces every kind of not so kind thing we had to say about Randy Brown, right? Just not that guy. Just not that guy.
Yeah,
and then he won, but in a kind of.
And you know what I'm so tired of hearing in UFC post-fighter interviews? Shout out steak.com and my boy Skinny Bets. He'll get you paid. I'm so sick of hearing that. You know why? You can't use steak.com in the United States.
Yeah, well, I mean, the VPN and all that, it's... Yeah, I mean, and it's just who's using those types of places to place their bets? I don't know. I'm a lucky guy. I live in Nevada. I go down and place my bets in person. I enjoy doing that. Yeah, and these websites, I've heard some pretty sketchy things about steak.
Yeah, I have too. But they give Steve will do it, and Drake money to gamble with, essentially in credit, and then don't pay them out the winnings and just pay them a signed number to gamble on stake with them. Certain things that.
And I don't know, man. I have a feeling in 10 years steak doesn't probably exist. Maybe that's a cold take, and they're the Amazon of betting in 10 years. But I don't know. I feel pretty confident in saying there's some shady stuff going on over there.
They're missing in two. They're missing in two major UFC markets, Australia and the United States. The only two countries they don't operate in. So it's I don't know. I just find it an awkward promotion in a market that predominantly can't use your
I'll say though,
your site.
with them not allowing to put anything on their shorts or anything, that's really the only opportunity these guys have.
And
to
you know
make
they're
money.
getting paid to say that.
Yeah, so it's like it is annoying, and I feel you. They all said the exact same thing in the post-fight interview, but when you can't wear a sponsor on your shorts, and like these guys aren't getting paid the most, obviously, fighter pays the whole conversation.
Well, Skinny Bet's getting them paid.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, Randy Brown, man, just Randy instead of rude boy Brown, it needs to be lukewarm Brown because I'm just like I get it. He's not bad. Like he's good. I call him the king of mid.
The king of mid. Yeah, you did say
he'll
that.
beat any mid fighter you put in front of him, and then the minute you put a real guy in front of him, he's gonna look like dog shit. I mean, which is fine. I'm not even like certain guys have different ceilings. Like I'm not saying he's really doing anything wrong or he's not training hard enough.
He's just not that guy. He's just
not that guy. He's a guy. Yeah, he's good. He has some physical attributes. He's kind of well-rounded. I don't know. Like, it's not that. That's another thing too. It's not that he's well-rounded in that like he's good at everything. It's just like he like is mid at everything. Like he's the king of mid.
His physical intangibles are good too. Like he's tall and long.
Yes, and I feel like it just like is the main thing he has going for him, which just like I'm out on. We'll keep him pushing this main event because like first off, like I said, I'm not that many MMA fans have been saying that many good things about this main event. I was pretty excited for it. I think it clears up a lot of like murkiness in this strawweight division and does potentially present us with new title challengers. And I thought this fight was like super important and have the winner of this fight probably gets a title shot in the next 18 months. Like maybe there's a fight in between, but this fight was very impactful for the division. I was kind of stoked for it. High level fighters. And then it turned out to be awesome. Like I thought.
I thought great fight, and I would love to get into the scoring of it.
Yeah, a fight that can be scored a lot of ways. A fight that they pretty much alternated winning rounds. I mean, for the most part, very back and forth fight. I'm very close. Good matchmaking. I like Dern. I was pretty bullish on Dern. I put her in a parlay. I ate the minus 240. I think a lot of people did. Xiaonon was on a 2-fight L streak, and then Dern had looked really good lately. Fifth in the world. I thought a lot of people thought like if Dern won this one, she probably would fight for a belt next. Probably not the same for Xiaonon, but you never know. So kind of people are viewing Dern as the number one contender or the strawweight that we could get excited for because nobody's excited for Carla Esparza, and I don't know, man. So I like Dern going into this one. And man, I think Xiaonon performed better than a lot of people, including myself, like thought she would. I mean, she looked fan-fucking-tastic.
Her takedown defense was excellent, man. And that's not to say, because Mackenzie Dern doesn't have great takedown accuracy, but that's usually because she has poor entries on her takedowns, which was still a thing last night.
Yes, it was bad.
But she is incredibly creative and crafty and grappling, and that was on full display last night. In any situation where Xiaonon would even get on top, it was a bad decision on her part. How many times did we see Dern put her in trouble from her back?
Oh yeah, no, it was. I mean, it was Dern's path to victory, and she would even pull guard a couple different times, and we'll get into it. But I mean, it's a story as old as time. We've talked about it on this podcast. Other podcasts have talked about it. I mean, it's real obvious. But like when you have good jiu-jitsu, I don't even know if I'll go as far as to say mid striking. Like her striking is bad. I mean, I guess it's like a little bit better than like Jillian Robertson level, but like not at my.
It's not the best, and Xiaonon striking is very good.
And then zero wrestling. It's just a tough skill set. It really is a tough skill set. This is coming from a guy who bullishly bet Dern that it's a tough skill set to like get it to where you want it to be. Like once you get it there, you can have success, and she did. But it's just like it's not up to you if it gets there, pretty much, and like you're definitely gonna eat damage along the way. It's just
she's got a good chin though.
Does have a good chin, and she had to use it. I mean, let's dive in here. Round one, Xiaonon had 100% takedown defense, and I thought was able to get some damage on Dern's eye. They don't mention it in the broadcast till the second round, but I noticed it with my eye. That damage to Dern's right eye from Xiaonon's left hand. It was early and often. I mean, it was not looking good. I mean, she had the damage advantage.
And the body kicks were nice. The leg kicks were nice. Like, Xiaonon was kind of tagging her up in all phases.
got some ground and pound in even, which a lot of people thought she'd be scared to engage at all on the ground. She kind of,
She wasn't afraid to engage on the ground. No, I think that was a mistake because she
Yeah,
was so
probably
ahead
should
in
have been.
striking that I think this could easily have been like a 49-46 kind of a fight if she just refuses to engage on the ground.
For sure. Yeah, no, but worked out for her in round one. Round one, Jan Xiaonon, right? 10-9.
Yeah, I think pretty easily.
Yeah, not gonna. That's the thing. This round or this fight, who won each round was obvious. Now, by how much?
It's how you score it.
Yeah, which is interesting. It makes it fun to talk about, which is what we're doing here on the Beefy Boys Breakdown. And round two, man, how'd you see it?
So I thought at the very start of the round that it was going to be more of the same from round one. And then Xiaonon made the mistake of grappling with Dern and gets reversed. And I believe that was the omoplata, correct, in the second round?
Yeah, I mean, she
So
threw the
nasty,
kitchen
man. I
sink
mean, was
at
that
her.
when her arm was pinned behind her back?
Yeah, it was like reverse. There was
Right.
a shoulder lock, I think they were calling it. Where she had her like, yeah, it was just like.
I was
her
very
shoulder, like,
surprised she did
behind
not
her.
get the finish there. I thought it was extremely close.
It looked bad. It looked bad. It wouldn't surprise me if Xiaonon needed shoulder surgery after that. I mean, it looked painful. Yeah, Dern, she kind of pulled guard. I mean, her jiu-jitsu was on full display in round two. I mean, it was a clinic. I mean, she would take the back. She would beat it full mount. I mean, everything in between, just flowing from position to position to position. I mean, threatening a sub in each of those positions. I mean, threw the kitchen sink at her. Now, I mean, everything nice I'm saying about Dern is almost a compliment to Xiaonon to defend it all. Because
Right,
it was
yeah, to be smart enough to
high
evade those
level.
moves.
And Xiaonon, I mean, she would be a little bit behind, but she would catch up and she would defend. And
Now, granted, I did continue to notice that if it had been like a full if it had been like a 7-minute grappling match, or even 7-minute MMA round, I think Dern gets a finish there in round two.
Me too. I mean, yeah, no, but that's one of the downsides of like jiu-jitsu, right? Like, it's not set up for 5-minute rounds. Like, I think even the original Gracie was like he didn't want rounds in MMA for that reason because it specifically made jiu-jitsu less effective.
Right.
Like
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, sorry about it. Pretty much.
Sorry about it. That's the rules. Have been for a long time.
Exactly. And then round three, I think this is the round that it becomes important how we score. Am I right on that one?
Slightly. I mean, I think rounds 3 and 4 are pretty easy for me to score. I thought Dern was doing a better job on the feet and was still continuing to threaten in grappling phases. But I thought Xiaonon was honestly pretty on point with her defensive jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, the defensive wrestling, defensive jiu-jitsu was stuffing takedowns, was defending subs, and then anytime she got her offense off, landing very clean, very impactful, causing damage.
It was starting to pile up on Dern's face, you could tell.
Dern was lumped up. Like, she wasn't cut up, but she, like, literally her head was, like, lumpy after the fight.
Rounds 3 and 4 were extremely similar, in my opinion. I scored them both 10-9.
Almost identical. My notes are almost identical. They looked identical. Xiaonon had success in the identical ways. Dern didn't have success in identical ways. These were the rounds where it was starting to look real bad because she was starting to take, like, super sloppy, horrendous takedowns from far away.
Looked
that
desperate.
Weren't close. Looked desperate. Could not get it. Like, could not keep the clinch engaged. Xiaonon was kind of big dogging her in rounds 3 and 4.
Yeah,
Xiaonon, definitely the better athlete.
Yeah, no doubt. Looked much more physically in shape, at least from like a body fat percentage.
Stronger, faster, more explosive, probably better cardio. I mean, check box from like a physical matchup perspective.
Yeah, no doubt. And
Power
advantage. And her speed, too, was really impressive. Now, round 5 gets very interesting, in my opinion, because this is a round where Mackenzie Dern lands, I believe, like 90 significant strikes, and Xiaonon lands, I think, 20 or 15.
Yeah, well, actually, I think what it was is that they weren't significant
or non-significant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what made it weird. Because they were so Dern finally gets this, like, was it like a headlock throw? I don't know if there's some judo name for it, but like essentially a headlock throw. It was sheer will. I mean that takedown had failed all night long. It failed when she was fresh. It failed
like that was her third attempt on it.
And it was eating dicks. And she finally got it, just willed her way, just muscled it. It wasn't it kind of probably shouldn't have worked, but she willed it. And it was amazing to watch, honestly, because I don't know, she dug deep, she went for it. And then, yeah, she was really throwing a lot of ground and pound, but it wasn't the biggest ground and pound. They were kind of, pitter-pat bullshit kind of shots, but they were landing, and there was a fuck ton of them. They weren't really causing any damage to Xiaonon, though, as far as cutting or orbitals or anything along those lines. But dominated the round. I mean, took her back, got full mount, was a nut hair away from getting that armbar at the very end.
Yeah.
With all that being said, call me Mr. Scrooge with my 10-9. I wasn't feeling the 10-8, the lack of damage. The 90 strikes or whatever looks real awesome on your ESPN app when you open it up and look at the stats and the little heads turning red on the app. But like watching that fight, they were inconsequential. That no damage. I don't want to say none. Very little damage was done with those. What was it, 92, whatever the number was. I didn't love it, man. I mean, I like the armbar more than that, and it's like. Close but no cigar. Sorry about it.
Sorry about it.
I don't know, bro. I mean, I have a feeling we're going to disagree here. I feel like the words 10-8 are kind of just on the edge of your tongue over there with your little grin.
Yeah, they are, actually. I did give it 10-8. I just thought it was a completely dominant round. I didn't think that Xiaonon posed any threats or got any damage of her own off in that round for the most part. I thought she was defending submissions and taking damage.
Yeah, it all comes down to how you interpret the damage of round 5,
it wasn't the most significant, but it's that she got dominated for almost all 5 minutes.
For sure, and you could argue defended well for all 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Which isn't a 10-8. That's what I don't know.
But defended well, eating 85 punches on the ground.
Yeah, but
yeah, I know, but.
I could do this to my forearm 85 times right now, bro, and not have a bruise when I'm done. That's what was happening. Like I said, it's subjective, but there was literally, if there was 3 elbows sprinkled in there, I'm probably right there with you. She was close. I don't know, like we're doing verdict. It's like a 9.12 or some shit. She got close. It wasn't
wasn't an easy 10-9 or 10-8.
Yeah.
It wasn't an easy 10-9. It was right on that verge.
Like I said, I think there's 2 or 3 elbows just Yanni sprinkled in there. I think I'm right there with you, and we're just the 10-8 boys, the 10-8 breakdown over here. But I just, I don't know. I said I probably am being a little stingy. I love the takedown was my favorite part because they said that was sheer, concentrated power of will.
Poor Minor, my God. Well, remember this name, Mike Bell, because he is the judge he was one of the judges that scored a 10-9 for Barcelos in round 3, but gave this a 10-8 in round 5.
Yeah, that makes no sense. At least my shit's consistent. A 10-8 round looks like what Barcelos did, and Mackenzie Dern did not look like Barcelos did as far as domination goes.
Right, 10-8 for Barcelos, not crazy. 10-8 for Dern, arguable. 10-9 for Barcelos. 10-8 for
Moderna gets you there.
We're 10-8 in Moderna all day. So the way this fight ends up being scored out is 2 judges agree with you, 48-47. 1 judge agrees with me, 47-47. So we do have a majority decision for Xiaonon.
I thought that's the correct scorecard, though, if I'm being honest.
I think that's right.
Was it a split? Majority decision. I actually fucked with it. I thought that's an accurate representation. One judge giving that a 10-8, totally cool with. Totally cool with. Zero issue with at all.
Yeah. So I think case in point is that it was a very close fight, very competitive fight, very fun
so
fight.
Close.
Made for a
great matchmaking. Yeah, 5 rounds, and it wasn't a snoozy 5 rounds. It was a solid pace. We saw great grappling. We saw great striking. I think both fighters kind of stink at the in between. If we're being honest, is probably why neither one will be champ. Because I mean, so Xiaonon gets the win here. She got TKO'd by Carla Esparza. I'm not that's I don't know. If she's the champ, so how do you get as a loss to a champ seem like a bad loss? But you're getting TKO'd by snoozy fighters.
Well,
like it's just
you know
tough,
why that
right?
loss to a champ looks bad is because the champ is not a definitive term in the Carla Esparza, Rose Namajunas case.
Yeah, and now I think Carla Esparza fights
Zhang Weili.
Zhang Weili
She's
here in a couple of weeks.
I feel like she's gonna get torched.
Me too. I'm betting the house on Weili. I think there's no way Carlos Esparza is the favorite, right? There's no way. I don't know if that money line's out there yet. I'm curious about it, actually. If you can find it, I'll wait.
Do you know what they fight on by chance?
I can look it up real quick because I can use my phone now because we're doing it on the computer. Let's go.
Yes, sir. There are odds out for Poirier Chandler. Oh, here they go. Here we go. Caesars has it out right now at -315 for Weili.
That's about right. That's about right. That's why we don't respect Carlos Esparza as champ, man. It's just one of those things. Paper champ all day.
Or I'm sorry, that's DraftKings. Caesars has it at -360 for Zhang Weili, +280 for Esparza.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, it'll probably get bigger than that, which is, just proof that paper champ for sure.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. What do you think about New Year's Eve? Well, I guess we should talk about what's next for Xiaonon. Like, who do you think she fights?
Yeah, you're right. Pull up the top 5. Or I guess I can. I fucking love this.
Oh, I got it right. So you got, not Dern anymore. It's obviously Yan at 5. She gets to take that spot for the victory. So Jessica Andrade at 4, Marina Rodriguez at 3, Zhang Weili at 2, Rose at 1. You know what? Yan Xiaonon and Rose would be a fun fight.
It would be a fun fight. It'd be a striker's delight.
Right.
I think one of her 2 L's was to Marina. Well, I think one of her 2, so she could get that one back.
Right.
I don't know if the UFC would want to rematch it or
it's kind of soon for it. Andrade and her's not bad.
Yeah. Andrade is always a tough night out. To make her
climb one by one kind of sucks. Like maybe just give her the shot to get to number 1 with a win over Rose because stylistically she can beat Rose.
And Rose is kind of the odd man out right now, right?
Yeah, or like Rose is in the doghouse.
What I could see them doing, if you really want to build Yan Xiaonon, what you do is you let Carla Esparza lose, and then you match up, let her get the rematch, which that sells. You know what I mean? Kind of, for as much as it's gonna sell. And I don't know. I think most people, as crazy as it sounds, and Carla Esparza did dominate that fight, but I think most people would probably have Xiaonon in the rematch, right? I mean, how she's looking, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, but that's just
it was so
one-sided.
one-sided.
So poor in her last performance. Like we got to see what she looks like in this next fight. Maybe she looks really good against Weili.
You're right. But what I'm getting at here is if they found a way to get that back, I don't know. I don't think the UFC would want to give Rose to Xiaonon. They kind of view Rose as a big fight type of I don't know. She gets treated differently.
Her performance.
They could be. That would change everything.
Right, because she is not really. She ruined her draw by fighting in that sort of way. Now I'm not saying that it's not still there, but she definitely lost fans fighting that way.
For sure, and Xiaonon just gained fans.
Right.
Yeah, man, it's weird. That top 5 is pretty goddamn gridlocked. It reminds me of a men's lightweight. Just the names and the gridlock.
And they've kind of fought each other at weird, intervals here amongst themselves.
Yeah, because Rose and Carla have already fought twice, right? Or is it 3 times? They fought 2 or 3 times.
Twice.
I mean, Xiaonon and Rodriguez has already fought. Xiaonon and Esparza has already fought.
Weili and Rose have fought twice. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they definitely have.
And now Weili is going to fight Carla.
So they'll have already fought.
Andrade.
That's what I mean by gridlock. That's what I mean by gridlock. You're running out of matchups to make. I guess. I mean, I think they're waiting for no really young strawweight prospect has really broken through like that. I think they're hoping that Tabitha Ricci does. Or somebody, or who's the Mexican Lupe Godinez?
Yeah, but she lost her last fight. Emily
she
Ducote.
Did.
Emily Ducote might be the one.
Emily Ducote, yeah. which I think she followed us back on Twitter.
I think she's also from Oklahoma, is she not?
I'm not mistaken. Maybe that might be why she followed us back. But strawweight is so top heavy and so gridlocked. It's a really difficult conversation to have. Like, on one hand, you could argue, oh, well, that means you can't go wrong. But also, on the other hand, it kind of means you can't go right? I mean, it's just going to be some shit we've already seen before, or some shit.
Oklahoma.
It's either gonna, yeah, that's dope. Shout out. But like, it's either going to be some shit we've already seen before, or some shit that, guess what? If we wanted to see it, we would have already seen it before. You know what I'm saying? It's like you kind of. It gets weird at the top 5. I mean, is there anybody lurking on like the 7, 8 that you think is fun or intriguing or can make a run or spice this up? Like,
let's see. So, maybe Lemos, but that's the only other interesting name because otherwise it's Yandy Hoba, Amanda Hibas, and Tisha Torres.
Been there, done that already.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Michelle Watterson is 11. Angela Hill's 12.
Old.
Luana Pinheiro, who's been fighting for now like 6 or 7 years, is 14.
Needs youth bad in the strawweight. I think that's our biggest takeaway from this like combo.
This body.
Next week's card like hasn't even been released yet. It's weird. There's like 4 fights on the website and it's in 5 days.
Let me see if they have any more out right now, or if
I kept waiting. I kept checking. I'm like, surely they'll drop it. They usually drop it the night of the fight. They didn't do it.
I got it already. On best fight odds though, so it must be in the books, but not on ESPN. They must be fucking around on their website. So you got Jacob Malkoun and Nick Maximov. You got Pete Rodriguez, Mike Jackson, Jordan Wright, Dusko Todorovic.
Nice.
Neil Magny and D-Rod.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Cub Swanson, Jonathan Martinez.
Ooh, that's sick. Bantam?
Yeah.
No, not. Yeah, is that Bantam?
Feather.
Feather. That's right.
And then a Sunsao, Victor Henry, which Victor Henry's he's kind of an upstart guy. Looks to be pretty dangerous, so they're giving him a big jump.
That is a big jump.
Sam Hughes and Piada Rodriguez. Sam Hughes is the girl that's kind of a young up-and-comer. Should be good to see her win. Tatsuro Taira.
Yeah, I like that guy. The Japanese kid. He's like 22, right? He looked good in his last fight. He's like a high prospect. I'm excited to see him fight.
Brandon Davis and Mana Martinez.
Who was the first one?
Brandon Davis. That's probably gonna be an opening. That'll probably be the opening fight. Then the final 3, you have Misha Serkinov, Alonzo Minifield.
That's okay.
Askarov, Brandon Royval's the co-main.
Really? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now that's a co-main. Fucking Randy Brown. That's what a co-main's supposed to be.
Yeah, no doubt. And then Alexa Grasso, Vivian Araujo.
Hey, you know what? I'm excited just because everybody talks up Grasso so much and like she gets a lot of love, a lot of hype that like I'm excited to see her like have to kind of back it up. Like I'm not saying she won't or she can't. I'm just saying like she gets a lot of love.
They filled out that card really nicely.
Yeah, you're right. I don't hate it. I was nervous. I was like, dude, if they haven't announced it, it must be ass or all contender series guys or something. But then, no, there's some names on there for sure.
13 fights. That's pretty much the full card. It has to be.
Yeah, cool. I'm down for it, especially with that being the co-main. I'm probably more. I don't know. Is it safe to say you're more stoked for the co-main than the main on that one? I kind of am.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I'm super stoked for that co-main, especially because if Askarov wins, he's kind of threatening for that next title shot.
People's main event. You know what I mean? People's main event for sure.
Or
man. All right.
Swanson's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, true that.
Now, I want to ask you one close look ahead, one way too far look ahead, and see what you think about the odds.
Let's get it.
So, Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira, that is now down to Islam minus 160 after opening at minus 240.
Everybody's been betting Charles, dude. Because if you think about it, Charles gets close to losing by getting striked. I don't think Islam's going to, like, drop Charles Oliveira on the feet. I don't think so.
And Charles' striking is pretty good still. Like, it might still be
good.
Might still be better than Islam's.
What do you mean might be? I think Charles' striking is, like, miles better than Islam's. Like, not – you could argue – I will argue right now that as big as the wrestling deficit is for Islam, is the striking deficit for like Charles Oliveira. Like,
Yeah, but Charles can grapple his ass off defensively too.
oh, I agree. I like Oliveira. Like, I'm definitely putting my money on Oliveira. I wish I would have got it at a bigger number, but I don't really do futures bets. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I like Oliveira there. I'm not.
I mean,
Like
Islam could definitely win that fight. He could come out and lay on him and do that whole thing that people think he's gonna do. But I don't know. I like, give me some Charles money.
Yeah, I mean, and after his last performance, like I said out loud, and I got to keep saying it, I'm done doubting Charles Oliveira. The
Yeah.
dude's just too good. And if he beats Islam, he'll have cleared out the top 5 of lightweight in the last 18 months.
All right. Let me ask you a follow up kind of hypothetical. Is Islam better / would Islam beat? However you want to interpret this, whatever. Because I'm talking about the people that Charles has beat. So you got Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, and Justin Gaethje. Like, I'm trying to juxtapose because Vegas is telling us that Islam is better than all 3 of those guys.
Chandler might be incredibly difficult for Islam. I think Gaethje probably loses that. I think Poirier probably loses that.
I think Poirier loses just stylistically, but
right. Yeah, I agree. I think Gaethje has a little better time with it.
Me too.
But I honestly think Chandler has not a bad time with it.
Because of the wrestling and the explosiveness and the athleticism.
And wrestling, yeah, exactly. He's so explosive, man.
Yes, same kid. All right, so.
And he's risky as shit. So like he'll throw like a dive bomb to try and end the fight.
But also Islam has worse striking than all 3 of those guys, like for sure.
That's what I mean, yeah.
And that's how those 3 guys were able to threaten Charles.
Right. And the only one that didn't get a shot at Habib out of those 3 you named is Chandler.
Yeah.
And so I think we kind of see how that fight goes if it's Poirier or Gaethje again. Now that's not fair to say, of course.
But no, that's a metric.
Stylistically, and he's going to have slightly improved striking from Habib with slightly worse grappling, but still very good in both. Extremely good in grappling. But yeah, I think Chandler poses a big threat to him, but I think Oliveira is just the king of the lightweights.
I agree, man. Like the whole level of competition thing. Like if we were just looking at these guys on Tapology and we didn't know the whole Khabib connection, we'd be like, why are these guys even fighting?
Yeah, no doubt, exactly. But it makes a lot of sense now.
For sure.
And then the final one, the way too far look ahead fight, Israel Adesanya minus 170, Pereira plus 145.
Plus 145. I'll probably even go inside the distance or under or whatever, knockout if you want to do it. I'm all for it. I have a feeling I might end up being made look foolish, like Izzy.
Oh, wait, are you taking Pereira? You're saying you're taking Pereira?
Yeah, Pereira to knock out Izzy for sure. And I feel like I'm letting my nuts hang on that one. But like I said, I could easily be made to look foolish. I think it's been a while since Izzy had probably people doubting him, probably since the Yoel Romero fight, or you know what I'm saying, that Izzy wasn't a huge favorite. He's still a favorite, but I think Izzy probably hears the noise, hears the people like me thinking here. I mean, Henry Cejudo just put out a piece saying that he thought Pereira would knock him out. I think Cormier's come out and picked Pereira. A lot of guys, a lot of the boys in the locker room, as Chael would say, are picking Pereira. So I think Izzy hears all that, and we're going to get a better version of Izzy. I'll be real. I don't think Cannonier really got him up or kept him up, made him train a little bit harder. I don't think. I mean, the Whitaker fight probably did, and I thought he potentially lost that one. It's just weird because how Rob, in my opinion, beat him is skill sets that Pereira doesn't possess. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're all just guessing, can Pereira knock him out? And we've seen him knock out a lot of people. We've seen him knock out Izzy. So I don't know. Give me Pereira, especially at the plus money. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if I was made look foolish on that one. But I love me some Pereira. I do.
That's one that I'll probably talk myself into betting Pereira on. And the line hasn't moved at all since its announcement. So, I mean, that's not a bad sign. You're still getting the best value on Pereira that you can get right now. But maybe the public juices Izzy like idiots, just loving the style and culture of him, and you can get Pereira at plus 180.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way the average. I mean, we always talk about the Buffalo Wild Wings fan, like as our example as a casual. But yeah, the fat guy eating the 15-piece boneless doesn't know who Alex Pereira is. Probably, I mean, but they know who Adesanya is. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
or yeah, well, especially with how popular it is. Same thing with Connor. Like Connor gets juiced odds because people are like, "Oh, it's Conor McGregor. I'm betting on him to win."
Like Izzy's probably the second biggest star under Connor, right? Is that true?
Is he? I mean, if John Jones would fucking fight,
Yeah, I don't think he
um,
can be included in this conversation. I'm talking about like selling pay-per-views in the past 3 years, guys not named Conor McGregor.
I mean, yeah, I think pay per view sales have to be Izzy
Is
and
he? Because I love Volk, but they'd be putting his ass on co-mains and shit.
yeah. I'm trying to think of who sold pay per views like that. I mean, you could argue that the lightweight division sells pay per views because people just love that division.
Oliveira Gagey.
Usman doesn't have terrible sales.
Yeah, Usman's a big star.
I think Yuri is going to have great sales. We will find out.
We'll find out.
Especially after how that fight went if he rematches Glover. Because that fight was fight of the year.
That fight either needs to happen soon or they just need to give him somebody else. He needs to fight. He's a young guy, young champ. But yeah,
And then
man.
Ngannou is not that kind of a draw. So, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Izzy's the biggest draw outside of... Now, Patty could arguably be a bigger draw for pay-per-views. We can't know until he is a champion.
Yeah, man.
Not necessarily,
I still
but
have
he
my
has to be up
doubts.
there. I do too.
Like skill wise, if he'll
I do
ever
too.
do enough to get to a pay per view, unless it's like some last minute replacement kind of gimmicky Diaz type situation. I don't know. I think UFC fans would call Dana's bluff if he gave us a Patty pay per view like now or even in the next 2 or 3 fights, maybe 3 fights. If he gets his next win over a somewhat better name, then gets like a top 12 win, I could see his fight after that being like a main event. But I mean, preferably a fight night main event.
I mean, if you think about Patty's matchups here, you got Tony Ferguson, Dan Hooker, Jalen Turner, Demirs Magulov, Connor, and Arman Sarukian from 15 to 10.
Is Magulov and Sarukian are booked against each other? That's
Right.
going to be amazing. That's
Yeah.
a heater.
But I'm just thinking that Patty out of those, like, I don't think I want to see him fight those guys.
Give him to my boy Jalen. Let him fucking tray flip his fucking hairdo. Switch tray on Patty the Batty.
Hey, bro, you're being wild.
It would be wild. I'll be there for it. I don't know, bro. I'm kind of over the whole Patty gimmick. Like, I'll be real. Like, it's not really over with me. It was fun. Like I like singing the song and getting drunk and, but I just, as far as like respect for him as a fighter, I'm not there. I like all those other names you just listed. I think Jalen Turner fucking dribbles his head.
I don't know if I like Tony Ferguson.
I think Tony Ferguson could outdog him for sure. Like,
I think Tony Ferguson should retire.
I do too, but I'm just saying, like, what does Patty look like when he eats an elbow and he's cut and it's like not going great? Like, we don't know what that looks like. And I don't know, man. Maybe he's a dog. I just don't see it.
I think Dan Hooker and Patty's a fun fight as well.
Yeah, it pains me to say it, but I've overvalued Dan Hooker, like literally with my real money.
Me
like
too.
3 fights
That's what I'm
in
saying.
a row.
I think that fight might be good because it's like one guy I've overvalued so much and one guy that I don't value as much now.
I will say though, like, say what you will, if it's the 3rd round and they're both bleeding,
I like Hooker.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
He's
I
a
just
dog.
don't know if Patty's a dog. Actually, like, I'm kind of erring on the side of, like, with my takes, not with my money, but with these takes, I'm erring on the side that he's not a dog. That's why, like, I don't project future champ, and I don't know if he beats Tony Ferguson because say all you want about Tony Ferguson, the guy's a dog, like 100%.
The guy's
And so,
a dog.
like, so yeah, I mean, I don't know, bro. I just like I'm not really with the Patty shit. The weight cut and the level of competition and the chin and I don't know, man. I'm not on board. I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't wait to see who they match up with next. But, I mean, I think that pretty much wraps it up for today's show.
Yeah, man, wraps it up, man. If you're watching on YouTube, check out some other of our videos. Hit subscribe. We're coming to you after every card a whole lot sooner now that we're going straight to YouTube. It's awesome. And, yeah, we're not slacking, never lacking. Don't miss cards over here on the Beefy Boys Breakdown. So you should check us out. Check out our other videos and engage with us in the comment section.
Yes, sir. I will see you, I believe, in 2 weeks. Is that the next card?
I thought we got Grasso next week. I think it's next week.
I think it's the
I hope.
15th. I think we have another week off.
Wow. What are we going to do with our lives, man? Have a good one, man.
You too, brother.
A lot
I'll
of
see
fun.
you soon.
Take it easy.